In this video, I want to show how we can clone a VirtualBox virtual machine. Cloning a virtual machine means that we end up with an exact copy of a virtual machine we already have, and this copy can be either on the same computer or on a different computer that has VirtualBox installed. Let's start with cloning within the same computer. To do that, we right-click on the virtual machine we want to clone and choose Clone. We have a drop-down box with three options. These options have to do with the MAC address of the machine's network interfaces. Each network interface has its own MAC address, and the clone can either use the original machine's MAC addresses or different ones. The first option will make the new virtual machine use the same MAC addresses as the original machine. The second option, which is the default, will use the same MAC address for NAT networks, but will generate new addresses for other network interfaces. The third option will generate new MAC addresses for all of the network interfaces, including NAT. I'll get back to it in a minute to make it clearer. As for the two boxes, you will rarely need to keep the disk names or the hardware ID, so I'll keep them unchecked. We now need to choose if we want a full clone or a linked clone. The difference is that full clone will create a copy of the virtual disk, whereas a linked clone will make the new virtual machine use the same virtual disk as the original one. In most cases, the full clone is the desirable option. The virtual machine is being cloned. The bigger the virtual disk, the longer it will take. Luckily, my virtual disk is pretty small, so it won't take too long. And here is our cloned virtual machine. Remember this dropdown where we chose the behavior of the MAC address? Let's take a look at the network settings of the original virtual machine. As you can see, I enabled two network adapters for this virtual machine, a NAT adapter and a bridged adapter. As you might know, every network device or network adapter has its own unique MAC address. It's sometimes also called physical address. VirtualBox generates these addresses for our virtual network adapters, and we can see the addresses that were assigned. So we can see that for the NAT network, the MAC address ends with 169. And for the bridged network, the MAC address ends with F07. On the cloned virtual machine, we can see that the NAT network uses the very same address as the original machine. But the bridged network uses a different MAC address. That's because when cloning, we chose the second option that only retains the MAC address for the NAT network. In most cases, it won't matter too much. But if you intend to run the original virtual machine and the clone on the same network at the same time, make sure that they have different MAC addresses, as most network equipment won't handle correctly a shared MAC address. Let's now talk about exporting a virtual machine. The idea with export is to create a self-contained portable file that includes all of the data the virtual machine does and includes all of its configuration. Importing is using this file to deploy a copy or several copies of the packaged virtual machine. We can import the virtual machine in the computer that exported it or in any other computer that runs VirtualBox. To export a virtual machine, right-click on the machine and select Export to OCI. OCI stands for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, but you don't have to use Oracle Cloud. I leave the format as the default to prevent compatibility issues. We can choose the path for the package, and we also have the three options we saw with the clone for the MAC addresses. You can fill in the details or leave them blank, then click on Export. Again, according to the size of your virtual disk, it will take anywhere from a few minutes up to an hour. Okay, it's done. Let's take a look at the exported file. And here it is, and you can see that it's an OVA file. One convenient thing with this method is that the generated file is really compressed. which makes life easier if you want to transfer it to another computer. The original folder used more than 8 GB, but the OVA file is only about 3.5 GB. To import a virtual machine from an OVA file, we need to click on Tools, then Import, and then we need to choose the OVA file. Here we can see all of the configuration for the virtual machine that we're about to import. Some of it can be changed, such as the size of the RAM. We can also rename the virtual machine. And once you're done, click on Import. Okay, it's been imported. Again, it's going to take a while, but generally speaking, importing is faster than exporting, because now we need to decompress the file, which is faster than compressing. And it's done, and we have our imported virtual machine, which is a clone of the original one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.